This is Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth, and today's guest is Simon Sezz. Simon, how you doing today, man?
Doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right.
I'm really glad to interview you. I've always wanted to. I really watch your work, and I really do like your work and appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It means a lot, brother.
The first question I wanted to ask you is, how did you break into the business?
Shit. I tell you what, Joe Bailey. I guess if it sounds familiar, Joe Bailey, J.C. Bailey's father. Starts from Todd Morton, really, actually, and Todd is actually cousins of the Baileys. So Todd done a few independent shows, I think, with IWA, and the Baileys were actually friends with my family. So they kind of went from Joe Bailey knowing Todd. I was like, hey, maybe I could start my own little independent promotion. So ended up, me and J.C. Bailey was, we went to school together, known each other for so. We were friends, so automatically I was friends with someone that owned independent wrestling. Yes.
What guys did you follow growing up?
I follow like a lot of Bull Payne. Bull Payne actually inspired me a lot. Just be real. Todd Morton, Manslaughter back in the day. I love the gimmicks. I like Alistair Fear. Battered Bone Wrestling was where I started. So it was, the promotion was good, the promoting was good, it was a family. So it was like Todd, Bull, and Tracy Smothers. Your small independent guys. I watched guys like Jay Prodigy and Suicide Kid, go at it, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I never forget this. So I was growing up dreaming to be like Suicide Kid,
How did the name Simon Sezz come about?
Oh man, I tell you what, some people say Joe Bailey come up with it. It's my first company, my first break, basically. I was a big fan of Simon Diamond back in the ECW day, and I went with a couple names back when I first started. I was 17 years old. I was I just kind of went with it. I didn't really want to steal Simon Sezz gimmick, but it kind of worked, and I tried it out. And Simon Diamond. I guess, I don't really know, kind of flow with it.
So who exactly trained you?
Tracy, I worked with Tracy Smothers back in Evansville back in 2000, 99 or 2000, and actually in Rotten, I trained for in Rotten, so I guess my trainers would be Tracy Smothers and in Rotten, but I don't knock it, some people have different opinions about either one of those wrestlers, but
what has been your favorite match so far in your career?
In J.C. Bailey, I guess, Barstown, Kentucky cage match. I don't remember much about the match, but I remember that it was with, my very best friend, and it was a singles match. It was one-on-one in a cage, and I duct taped him to the ropes and chained the door shut and beat him with the chair while he was taped to the ropes. And Joe Bailey was trying to get in, and cussing. And it was really pop, and it had to been 10, 12 years ago, It was just, I'd never forget that. It was just phenomenal.
What has been your most painful match?
I done in 2010. I buried my father in April, so JC had took me down to Bellevue, Illinois, where I wrestled for in Rotten at IWA Mid South. So I done the barefoot thumbtack for the Prince of Death matches against Cal Threat, and that was pretty excruciating. And here recently, a few months ago, I done the no rope barbed wire. I main evented against in Rotten, so that was pretty excruciating. He's sandwiched between the barbed wire boards, and done his front flip senton. He does his little signature flip, and gosh, it's just excruciating.
What's been your worst injury?
I broke my neck back in 2000. So it wasn't really an injury when it comes to wrestling. Bill Dundee put my shoulder back in place. I've had busted up ribs, been super glued up so many times. I tell you what, I dislocated my elbow. I slipped so many discs, it's pathetic. I'd say really the most painful injury I ever had was when Bill Dundee put my shoulder back in place. Harsh, I can tell you. Yeah,
man, that sounds bad.
I said, man, if you wasn't the superstar, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Who are some guys in the business you have no use for, if there are any?
Here we go. Questions. Man. Wow. I tell you what, I can't really say. I used to say what I can't really say because I still work for half those guys. I can name some guys like Rick Brady. We've had it out. I cuss him out. I call him out. We'll fight. But next month I go work for this cocksucker.
Yeah.
And we've been friends for years, many years. And then I just. Man, I tell you what, I don't have too many promoter enemies that I will not work for. I couldn't really tell you, to be honest with you. I've made frenemies.
Yeah.
But I work with everybody. Everybody's money's green.
Yes, sir. What's your thoughts on independent wrestling struggle?
Struggle?
Yeah.
UFC hurts a lot. MMA come around, and then you had those local shoot fighting, the independent shoot fighter clubs, like the Viper, I think it was another one of them. And when they started coming around, people thought less of wrestling. People always think wrestling's fake, it's work, and they make fun of us, But as long as they keep the realism in it, man, and just independent wrestling, there's so less of advertisement. You don't see independent wrestling on TV no more like you did on like a Smoky Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see big billboards. You don't see banners. You don't see gigantic signs. You don't see none of this anymore. A small 30-second commercial will put you on the chart. But these guys at independent level, just because they got $2,000 and got enough to buy them a ring and got them another $500 to rent a building and another $500 to make payout for some local backyarders, they think they can run shows. And it's just too many marks want to try to be promoters, basically. I think it's a crock of shit anymore.
Yeah. What's your favorite place in Indiana to work?
My favorite place in Indiana is to work anywhere let me bleed.
All right.
I love Coliseum. I've been wrestling here in Evansville Coliseum since I was 17 years old, and I'm 30 now. So you do the math, and I work for excellent people. Everybody's super friendly. They respect me. They just let me do whatever I want, basically. And I go to some companies in Indiana, like D1W. I mention the word color. I mention the word blood. I'm banned. Don't even show up. So it's like a spit in my face. That's who I am. Bleeding's a part of wrestling. So it always has been.
Right.
Since the 80s. So.
What's been your favorite moment in your career so far?
Moment?
Yeah.
Huh. Moment was probably going to the Final Four of King of Death matches. Matt Tremont, Drake Younger, Devin Moore. It was at the finals for all four of us, and it was. I can remember thinking that there's no rope, it's all barbed wire, and there's 200 light tubes, and I'm thinking of only one person, and it was JC. You know, JC Bailey. He was like everything that I ever done was for him. You know, so once I accomplished that, and once people established me as, I guess, or welcomed me to the ultraviolet world, it was, I think it was a great moment. You know, and just
Yeah. Who's one guy you respect more than any in the wrestling?
that's a good question. That's a very good question. Uh, honestly, Todd Morton actually, he's about like me. He's a straight shooter. I mean, he's a blunt guy. He's trying to be. Uh, he knows the psychology, he knows the story. He's not that, he's not that typical. I'm gonna high fly. I'm gonna do these power bombs. I'm gonna do this, but still work.
Yeah.
But I'd say maybe if I could walk up to someone and say, you know what I mean, I respect the shit out of you, and thank you for teaching me a lot. Thanks for being a mentor. I'd say Todd Morton, actually. You know.
What's one word to describe Simon Sezz?
Oh, you know that Kid Rock song? You never meet a motherfucker quite like me.
Yeah.
That's me, man. I'm a one of a kind. I'll give you 2 words. Brian Pillman.
That's cool.
I'm a Brian Pillman. I'm that guy that I'm that rebel you can't control. You know.
Yeah. Loose cannon.
I'm the loose cannon. We'll use 2 words. Loose cannon. That's a great one. I like it.
Who's one guy from the WWE you would like to work with if you had an opportunity? If there is any.
Yeah, CM Punk. Honestly, I remember being the reason why. I remember being about 18 years old, wrestling for IWA Mid South, Clarksville, Indiana. CM Punk walks up to JC. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like your boy, and I had no respect for this people, I don't blah 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 blah." And he may not ever remember me, which is fine, but I'll never forget that moment. But now, to show him that I'm just as good, bro.
Yeah.
Minus the body, minus the look, minus being a straight edge, I'm just as good. So to prove.
Yeah, and plus you're a cool dude. Like me personally, I met CM Punk. He was a dick to me, man.
Yeah, he was a dick to me. You know what I mean? I smoked a little marijuana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, whatever. But it's whatever. That's why he's there. I'm not. So I'm not knocking him. But if I could have a match of the year, and I'd hope it would be with CM Punk.
Yeah.
To show that respect, to bring that out of someone.
Do you have any crazy road stories?
Oh shit, bro, we'll be here all night, man. Oh, you ain't here?
Just give me your favorite one.
Oh shit,
If you got a favorite.
Let's see. We stole. Me and JC stole Victor Bruiser's hubcaps in Cincinnati, Ohio. We was at a hotel. We stole his hubcaps, brought them back to Kentucky. We was working for Buff Bagwell then. Shit, me and JC, we'd sit in a purse and stick a dollar bill outside the hotel room and watch people pick it up in the parking lot. It was.
That's good shit.
I could tell you just on and on. I could tell you we was on the way to Evansville, Coliseum. Matter of fact, a van load full of us. I think it was Manslaughter, JC, few other people. A referee named Turtle, I believe, and then. Manslaughter starts up the chainsaw. It's dead traffic, bumper to bumper, starts the chainsaw up and gets on the leather face mask and chases JC around the van and around so we throw him in the van and the traffic starts going in. So then we cut around the cars in the emergency lane and just take off. That's funny. We've done some wild things, man.
Who's the worst promoter you worked for?
Christian Skyfire, Dub C, whatever you want to call it, Evolution Pro, they're new. They come around here, Cage Cutler and them.
Yeah.
They're my pals. I've known them since I backyard wrestled with them when I was 15, 16 years old. They're my pals. We get drunk together. We hang out. We ran train on rats together. I mean, we're close. You know what I mean? But as far as them guys running a promotion, I got a better chance of going to heaven. You know?
Explain what the Taipei match versus Bad Breed was like in June. It was in Clarksville, Indiana.
Actually, it was an honor just working with Axel, and and considering if you watch that match, me and Axel never touched, and which there was no reason, you know. I mean, we had, you know, there was a reason maybe because if you watch a couple of the interviews there, you know, we kind of it was heated, you know. But Axel's a super guy, you know, and I went in that match expecting the worst, and there was something to prove, and because I remember watching them in ECW when they was doing their top 8 deathmatch, you know. I remember that, so I had to work up to something. I had to build up to something. I expected the worst, you know, and to come out was, you know, I mean, I had a scar somewhere, it's right there. I still got that, man. And it was just a privilege, anyways. You know, I was already shook, you know, but just working with Axel for the first time in Taipei Deathmatch, making what I could be wrong, but in the second one
I believe so.
ever done. So that's kind of you know, so this is an achievement. Yeah. You know, so I was more happy to achieve it. Just even achieving that, even getting, you know. But who the was my partner was a Pit Be Beautiful. Like, come on, who gives a fuck, you know? Fucking a joke.
Is there one guy that has helped out your career more than any?
JC, man. JC Bailey did. You know, he started me out with his daddy's company, and you know, he brought me down here to Coliseum. They took me to Incentive Pro, you know, IPW in Indianapolis, and I give all my credit to JC and to Joe Bailey, you know, and I can't bullshit about that, you know. Just it was so hard for me being in his shadow, I guess you would say, you know. I had to fight extra harder because you're like, oh, you know, the only reason you got this booking is for JC, so I had to step up my game to, you know, and just. But I give all the credit to him. Man. If it wasn't for the Baileys, then I wouldn't even be Simon Sezz. You know.
Yeah.
I'd still be a dreamer, going to WWE, buying tickets, Monday Night Raw. You know.
Why should someone come out and see a Simon Sezz match?
Why should someone come out and watch Simon Sezz match? You want me to be egotistical here? You want me because I'm the best? I'm gonna bring it. You never know what you're gonna get. You really don't. You know, and I'll be egotistical here, and I'm gonna say, you know, I go out there, I give 110%. You know, I'm after realism. I'm a great illusionist. You know, if it don't look like I'm beating your ass, then next week it's going to look like I'm beating your ass. You know, if you want realism, you know, you Google me. You know, you know, look me up. You know,
I seen you on I think it was the 23rd of August. Beat the shit out of Sebastian with the Charlestown.
Yes, man, and that's a fight. You know, I'm more into that fight. You know, it's a fight. That give him another level up. You know, that give him that put a perspective on him that people never even seen before. You know. I like that Chris Benoit style. Yeah. I like that Kevin Sullivan. Let's get in there and get dirty and get rough. I like that. You know, and I'm more into the '80s, man, where they play it off the pole. You know what I mean? You get color off just about anything. You know, it's a fight. You know.
Who's the stiffest guy you've ever worked?
Man. Then you got awkward stiff, or you got this guy don't know what the fuck he's doing stiff, or you got that this is the way this guy works stiff, or you got he's just being a fucking dick stiff. And Rotten was pretty stiff, just being a dick stiff.
Yeah.
Necro Butcher just being a stiff because it's the way he works stiff. Then you just I worked with Jimmy, just Jimmy one time over in Charleston for D1W. He was stiff, like an awkward stiff. I tell you what, man, just do I have a all-time stiff favorite? Max Misery. Max Misery was a stiff son of a bitch.
What titles have you held?
Shit, there's quite a few actually. I held a lot of titles for Bad of the Bone Wrestling earlier in my career. I held the United States title for 14 months. I held junior weight title, light heavyweight title for Bad of the Bone Wrestling, the hardcore tag straps. Shit, brother, I probably held.
That's a lot.
I probably held 9 titles in 6 different states.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
are there any legends or current TNA WWE guys you have wrestled?
have I wrestled?
Yeah.
No. To be honest, when names come in to work for the same company I'm working for at the same night, and someone else gets the opportunity to work them, and then I see that match was either alright or the drizzling shits.
Yeah.
I think to myself, if you would have booked that guy against Simon Sezz, then that guy might even possibly had the match of his year, and same with me.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy Dreamer coming to D1W, and someone else got to wrestle him. I was upset, and the match was garbage. Imagine if your newest ultra violent, you know what I mean, deathmatch wrestler Simon Sezz come in and wrestled your former ECW hardcore superstar. You know, like imagine that, and that's a match to watch.
Yeah, it would have been more.
You know, yeah, I'd pay more money to see that than Tommy Dreamer versus Miss Johnson.
Mm-hmm. What do you enjoy most about wrestling?
Oh, the rats. The rats, bro. I mean, you know what, man? Just on the real, just people like you. I mean, really, they come up and actually study my work and appreciate. You know what I mean? Smart marks make me do what I do. You know, and people come up and say, actually, that was incredible. You know, I'm like, yeah, it was all right, man. You know, they're like, that was incredible. And I'm like, yeah. But if I knew it was a super match and if someone says, yeah, that's a super match, then just, man, the fans really, you know, because, man, I enjoyed the drugs. I enjoyed the rats. I enjoyed the road. I enjoyed the freedom. I enjoyed the life of it, and the glory, you know. It's just, sometimes it's the only thing a man's got, you know.
How do you want to be remembered when you retire?
The best. The very best.
I really appreciate you coming on and doing this video.
Yeah, no problem.
But is there any last words or anything you want to say to your fans?
Thanks. I mean, thanks for your support. Thanks for, you know, and keep coming up. You know what I mean? I love hearing it. You know, I love the publicity. I love more opportunity. I love when people. I'm grateful. I'm a very grateful person, and when someone says I bought your DVD or I heard that, you know, I heard from you went down to Georgia. I never worked in Georgia. You know, you got to look at these hillbillies down here. You know, that they love you to death. You know, and keep it up, man. And if you really want to support a good wrestler, then fuck it, let egotistical be egotistical. But you know, Simon Sezz won't let my fans down. You know.
Thanks again, Simon.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Just keep it up.